Thank you, Madam President. I rise today in strong opposition to Senate Bill 831, a late state budget 11 days beyond the constitutional deadline, which is clear we've given up on adhering to the Constitution, including the right to clean air and clean water. Like many bills that come across this chamber for a vote, this legislation would serve only to benefit the oil and gas industry, waste taxpayer dollars, task already insufficient staffed state regulatory agencies with oversight, and bring further harm to the environment, as well as put Pennsylvanians in harm's way. Senate Bill 831 sets up a regulatory framework for unprecedented amounts of captured carbon from gas power plants to be pumped underground for storage. It would also mean a massive build-out of CO2 pipelines for transportation to these underground storage areas. Further troubling is the claim that this pilot technology is some sort of climate crisis solution, which is absolutely false. Not my opinion, science. It is an expensive boondoggle being pushed by the oil and gas industry to continue regular business as usual, looting and polluting and using the government to subsidize its profits. Moreover, carbon capture is incredibly energy intensive, meaning that it would only lead to more gas extraction and the greenhouse gas emissions and other harms that go along with it. And of very important note is that very little, if anything, is ever mentioned about fugitive methane emissions, which are far more harmful on our environment than carbon dioxide, but yet no one seems to worry about these increased methane emissions. Simply put, carbon capture and storage via underground sequestration will entrench and grow the pollution that has already plagued frontline communities across Pennsylvania for decades, and will mean a massive build-out and expansion of these CO2 pipelines through communities all across the Commonwealth, regardless if you are in the area of high gas extraction. An amendment to the bill in the House last month did nothing to address these environmental and climate concerns, nor protect Pennsylvanians and their private property rights. Senate Bill 831 would declare carbon sequestration to be in the public interest so that landowners could be forced to have it pumped under the land if a certain percentage of impacted landowners consent. So, for example, if 4 farms or 4 properties are in the area of impact for an underground sequestration carbon capture well, if 3 of those 4 property owners consent to this development and 1 does not, let's say a dairy farmer, beef cow farmer, someone who values their land and uses it for resources, they have no say in the matter. They're overruled by their 3 neighbors, their property, their assets completely compromised. The bill allows for the storage under public lands if the local government gives permission. The public is supposed to believe that this is a benefit. We know that these carbon capture sequestration efforts have caused earthquakes, have caused aquifer contaminations, and also when these pipelines have leaks, they literally suffocate humans and living beings. The amendment that was passed in the House changed the minimum time operations must cease before a certificate of completion can be issued and liability transferred from 10 years to 50 years. But the amendment also added the clause, or until approved alternative period of time, effectively reducing the time to an unstated minimum before liability is transferred to the Commonwealth, the state. We, the people, have to put up this financial burden of the liability. Mr. President, or Madam President, pardon me, there are still Pennsylvania families across this Commonwealth, from Dimock, Pennsylvania to Washington County to Westmoreland County to Cambria County. I've talked to residents in many counties where gas extraction activities has literally decimated their drinking water. To this day, are unable to use their private well for drinking water, some of which receive water deliveries because of this contamination. I urge my colleagues to vote no, but the influence on this bill is hefty, to say the least. Unfortunately, again, this budget theme and this bill at this fine late hour here on a Thursday night shows that Pennsylvania's legislature remains loyal to corporations and not the people that it serves. Thank you, Madam President.